And you are... Yep, okay, so you have... Oops, there we go. And you...
Get my phone 1 sec.
Okay.
All right.
I think that's everybody. Let me double check real quick. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, okay, that's good. Neat. So over the course of the long rest, you also receive these bits of information now that you've been together for a little while and other people have, the opportunity to hear things about you or observe mission reports or behavior. You're starting to get some stuff popping up here and there. Sheesh. Sure. Okay, let me go bring the dog to my mother. I'll be right back. Everybody here?
Yes.
I'm here.
I am here.
Fantastic.
Yes.
What in the fuck is this? I don't know, but it needs to go somewhere else. Okay.
Ark, you here, buddy?
Jake?
What? Yeah, I said yes.
Okay. I didn't hear you. I didn't come through.
I mean,
Okay.
it was amidst the cacophony of other people saying yes, so easy miss.
I don't think that was it.
I don't think it came through.
Yeah, I didn't hear your voice. Anyway,
Yeah,
everybody's here. So, let me change the screen here because we still have the weird mapped out nonsense up here. So now we can boop, 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 boop. So, the mining facility thing you guys went and took care of. That was sort of over here, and then you travel a little bit further north to a small city. Still would have been quite a ways to get up here, but now they've kind of already taken that area. So most of the enemy force is now up at that ICBM platform. So that means the next thing is sort of a question. Because they need to send, like, your command wants to send forces over to this western side and either get a squad down into the underground to gather the data on the train network that crosses the continent, mostly underground, or just directly assault the canyon network that defends the orbital gun. So the question would be, which of those two would you decide to join?
Sorry, say
They're
the first
going
one
after
again.
the gun.
Either way, you are contributing to going after the gun, but one of them is going to be you guys getting sent underground into a train depot that is between a major city and this canyon military base. And as soon as you can reach the control center, basically, the dispatch center for the train network, and get the map of the train network and the authorizations to basically take control of the system, then your main force is going to use that train network to launch an assault on the canyon network from below rather than having to approach from above where it's more heavily defended. Either way, there's going to be a squad sent to do that. It's just whether or not you guys want to be the squad that gets sent down there. At the same time, they want to send a forward assault to basically swoop in, hit the canyons, and try to take out any of their communications and try and make sure that they can't call for reinforcements from the main force that has now been sent away from that base to take the ICBM site.
My vote's with comms.
So what?
My vote's comms.
If we have to go underground again, I'm going to just murder myself and get it over with. So yeah.
Plus, communication's the key to warfare.
So a little bit more of the briefing for both. The underground operation is basically you're going to go back to the city that you guys helped take, and go from, or not from there. You're going to go back to the orbital gun that you helped take, because that train system connects northward. You would basically take a small cargo platform on that track into the depot. They don't know if the depot is being defended or not, or occupied. They know that the system is being used, but not to what extent. And they know that Almagest is trying to keep control of it, at the very least, to keep it out of their hands. But whether or not they are actually capable of making full use of it, they don't think so, because otherwise, well, they would have expected it to be used as in a counterattack already, and it hasn't been. So they want to send a squad down there to follow this sit on this cargo platform, go into the depot, and then from there you have to exit the mechs and go into the actual facility, find the like main room, and just take the place over. Essentially, to facilitate that, they want to make sure that you have like the necessary forces to go with you. So they do want to send a mech squad, but that mech squad is going to have infantry support. And they're just going to make sure that each squad that gets sent along has the access codes to, get into the system and gather all that information. The squad that goes overland to prepare that canyon site for assault is going to be one of several mech squads that have to go in and are going to have a schedule, because as part of that schedule, it means hitting the same targets at the same time so that they can't relay communications between each other, because the moment one of them gets hit, if the other one notices and manages to get word out, then the whole base goes on high alert and you suddenly have a much bigger problem on your hands. If you can hit the designated sites at the same time on schedule, then you effectively cause a rolling blackout of communications, and you can move somewhat freely after that, because the whole place is going to be in disarray and they're not going to know what's coming from where. And if the timing is correct, then that should be completed just as the main force should arrive via the train system. So it's effectively, do you want to go into the unknown, very likely into a nest of, like, well-entrenched enemies in a train depot, or do you want to go into a, very obviously well-entrenched enemy position overland in a semi-stealth op?
Overland.
I'm not stealthy.
No, I don't think we're very stealthy.
No. Who says we have to be?
It doesn't have to be terribly stealthy.
Steiner's Scoutlands.
It just has to be coordinated.
Yeah. Okay. I also feel bad leaving a bunch of infantry to go and take out a
They're going to be supported by a mech unit either way. It's just not going to be you guys.
yeah, but
Remember, the whole war isn't our responsibility.
Now,
But it
there
kinda is.
are. I mean,
that was Arthur.
I will also say, technically speaking, you can refuse both and get put into like a different cadence, because there's missions being carried out constantly. It's just when you guys are asleep, other things have to be happening. So, it's sort of like taking a shift. So this is just currently your shift. If you wait, you can receive new missions, but then you have no influence over what happens in these, and you just kind of get briefed on their outcome after the fact.
Yeah, we are player characters. We are not the fabled heroes yet. Can't wait to get to that
we
point.
have to steal the technology. Well, we can contribute to the rolling blackout and prep the approach and attack an unsuspecting enemy on the gun, or take the train station.
That was slip.
Okay. We take the train station, and we deny the enemy a incredible. We ensure that the enemy doesn't have access to an incredibly potent logistics tool to where they could shuffle around forces pretty much at will. And it lets us pretty much strike out from anywhere.
Yeah, that train system is kind of the only thing that is immune to your capital ship, because it has to be built sufficiently far underground that its operation doesn't disturb like citizens above ground, and it also just has the side effect of making it secure to everything save like an extremely powerful nuclear device. So
Also fast, can carry a lot of
Fucking
stuff all
torn
at
up all the
once.
coordinated, yeah.
wardrobes.
Hell, if the alert goes up, but they don't have access to the train station, they can't shuffle reinforcements from the missile site over to the base.
And I also don't want it to seem like,
Wardrobes.
yeah, just because you guys didn't go on this part of the mission, it's guaranteed to suffer complications or whatever. Like,
It could go swimmingly, even if we're
Yeah.
out there.
yeah, it can go either way.
Piano.
Is that not
Check.
implied, or is that down to like we finish? Let's say there's the two options, option A, option B. We finish option A, and then you like roll a d20 to see how option B went.
Yeah, basically. I roll 3 D100s, and I look at number trends instead of just rolling one hard 20 or like one 100.
Okay.
So it's not just a matter of like,
So
you
still
know,
a statistically worse outcome potentially, because if we're on the mission, then either we succeed or we fucking die, I guess, or another group gets sent on it, and then we have to be subject to the D100s. Out of the two, my personal vote would be going after the unsuspected target above ground, because given all of our mechs, if we're in another underground position again, we're not going to be able to maneuver well. We're not going to be able to get there as efficiently as a different group. It might just be better to send a more specific group after that objective.
well, that's the thing.
Sure.
You guys are the specialized group for your capital ship. Like, you are a unit that is comprised of mostly experimental mechs that were basically all, shoved in here because this seems to be a very desperate situation, and wild cards can often turn the tides. So each of you was part of whatever program you were in before, and you get reassigned to this effectively to be played like trump cards. That's not to say that you are the only experienced group. There are a couple of units that have been attached to this capital ship for like, several years together. So they have better teamwork. They know each other. Like, their loadouts are coordinated. And so it's not as if like everybody else is just an incompetent buffoon who's piloting a mech for the first time. But they all have much more consistent stock loadouts versus you guys that have more interesting tools.
Oh, for sure. But if we go underground again, then I mean, I'm just assuming, right? Because I could definitely be wrong. Altair and Aiden aren't going to be able to move as effectively as they can. We're going to be in long hallways, so I may be able to reach some targets, but not all of them, effectively leading both Soren and Arthur to be the people carrying any combat engagements in that scenario. Effectively leading about, 70% of the team unable to do a thing.
Well-
It reminds me of sorry, continue.
Like, if the tunnels are just bigger than I'm imagining, and I'm wrong,
Yeah,
by
no,
all means,
like
tell
we're
me.
we're talking about these platforms that you guys are standing on, like the trains that are shipping things around, are big enough that you can fit two of Altair side by side, like, and that's just side by side, let alone long ways. And then they don't expect there to be any combat like on the moving trains. It's going to be on the platform, and the platform itself is massive. You've been in one before. So that like there's plenty of room to move around, and it's not long hallways. It's just like a very large space interrupted very regularly by massive pillars that are holding up the load so that the place doesn't collapse. So you could consider it sort of difficult terrain in a sense because you don't want to go crashing through those pillars. You will collapse the platform and collapse the tunnel, which will make the depot that you're in functionally non-usable, and any trains at that point have to go way around it to try to go the same direction, which technically still kind of fulfills the objective of we don't want the enemy to be able to use this logistically, but it also doesn't fulfill your objective of taking control of the whole like train system. And on top of that, there is a section where you are expected to leave the mech and enter the facility. That includes Sandblaze. No, it's not going to be like, oh, well, it takes him a minute to get out. Darn, I guess we're leaving him here. Like, it would be the whole squad going in pilot mode and using pilot skills, pilot weaponry, and fighting inside this smaller space, like man to man. That's the expectation.
Gotcha.
Versus the overland is going to be pretty much strictly in the mechs. You know, you're going to be moving very quickly, constantly, and you sort of have like a schedule to keep. So if you get bogged down too much by combat in one way or another, whether because you got caught or whether because you can't take out your enemy in time, then you potentially delay the other teams who have to wait until you're in position to hit their next target, or, you know, because your own comms are going to be interrupted because you can't just be talking on radios that can be intercepted by the enemy that you're trying to ambush. They may just move ahead, take their target, and alert the area because you weren't there in time to take out your target. So both of them have complications, potentially. It's just a matter of, like, which would you prefer to play through?
Let's do. I don't know. Do you want to just like type into chat ones and twos, see who wants to go with what? 1 for Overland, 2 for Underland. So we're not talking over each other.
Sure. Let's just toss your vote in chat.
What was which one?
1 for over, 2 for under.
Okay, we are voted
All right.
for Overland. Fair enough. Hi, my boy. Okay.
Unanimously, in fact.
Yeah.
Yep. Fair enough. All right. Then we will. I don't think so. He went out at like 5.
Back to what I remember. The tunnel thing sounded a lot like I can't remember the name of the anime, but it was it's like a famous scene from it because the cops had like they look like Gundam suits, but they weren't Gundams. And there was like they're in like a tunnel, and at the end of it, it's like this giant spider mech with these miniguns on it. And I can't remember the name of the fucking anime.
I have
No.
no idea what you're talking about.
Fucking.
A spider mech with miniguns on it.
It was like I don't know. There was like two Gatling. There was just they were in their mechs, and they're like held up at the end of a hallway, and at the other end is like this autonomous like spider like mech that's like a defense emplacement, shooting down the hallway, and the cops had to like sneak like infantry behind it to cut like a giant fiber optic cable to shut it down. And I can't remember the name of the anime. It was really cool though, but it just reminded me is like the implication of fighting in a tunnel with mechs reminded me of that.
Brain would have just gone to fucking Ghost of the Shell personally.
It has Ghost of the Shell vibes, actually.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
That's not it. That's not it.
Weird.
Hmm.
Okay, well, in that case, actually, your dropship pilot there, call sign Mage, is not going to be the one taking you for this particular mission. Instead, there's going to be a different method of insertion where you are going to be going over land. So you and 2 other squads are going to get loaded up into your dropships, at least for the moment, and flown down to the surface. When you land, you are pretty far north of a major city. You can kind of see it way in the distance, but like no detail or anything like that. You just know that it's there. And you're kind of in a very like rocky desert sort of region. It is late evening or like late afternoon. There's a bunch of dust in the air, really bad visibility. Kind of part of the reason why they're choosing the here and now for this particular operation. And as soon as you get set down, there are what kind of look like modified forges that come out, because those forges kind of operate on like a bit of anti-gravity technology. They sort of float around instead of moving around on treads and everything. And so they've kind of stripped 3 of those down and removed all of the like extra components and whatnot. And they're just having those like hang out and wait for each squad to board. And so they have you all get on and pretty much, reiterate the briefing that each squad is going to have a specific route that they have to take, and they have specific targets that they have to hit at a given time. Clocks are all like mission clocks are all synced up, and if you have any questions or suggestions, now's the time, because once you get going and once you reach too close, you effectively have to rely on laser comms, so local only. You can't broadcast anything or it'll be intercepted.
Nope. I think we're good.
Okay, go to the RP notes. Shut the hell up.
Hat
So
labor.
mean.
That's the
Oh,
main
yeah, I have.
word.
Yeah.
You didn't
Hat
have
labor
any-
too.
Wait, what?
I think. Hold on.
Torn up all the
There, I'll send it to you too.
Wardrobes.
This is the scene I was